Good morning and welcome to Grief Talks with Zen Jen. I'm Zen Jen and the word for today is peace. Finding your peace place. Peace. It is a simple word, and yet, after a death occurs, it is a word that seems to be elusive in our minds. We long for a time to sit still and reflect on the loss of our loved one and look back over the years and memories we have shared with them. However, more often than not, what happens instead is that we are inundated with trials and tribulations, phone calls and tracking down of documents, or long wait times on the phone with customer service representatives. All of this contributes to the chaos and frustration we feel when we are simply trying to grieve and are many times delayed due to the inability to create a space for our mourning. One of the most important and essential things we can do for ourselves when grieving is to identify time that can be spent on reflection. We need to be able to monitor our inner world and recalibrate our thoughts and emotions into some semblance of order that makes sense to us. Grief can cause disorganization and loss of focus, which is normal. Many times people will say that they cannot think straight, let alone grieve, because of all that is going on around them, not to mention all the expectations that people have for them as well. When this occurs, it is recommended that you allow time for yourself for healing. What can be healing, and how do we go about finding peace? Last week, while standing against the powerful waves of the Atlantic Ocean, my 7-year-old niece asked me, "Why do people go to the ocean when they are sad?" I had just a moment to think about this before the next wave came crashing in and took us both under the water, depositing us a few feet further down the shoreline. I realized that grief is oftentimes just like that wave, powerful and towering, too big to stay standing on our feet, even if we had all the strength in the world. Like grief, that wave topples us and spins us underwater, leaving us feeling disoriented and lost when we surface. After a moment, we are able to glimpse the shore and reorient ourselves to place and time. How many of us have felt this way after the death of our loved one? Peace can be found at the ocean, in the mountains, in our faith and in ourselves if we allow it to make its way. It is not easy to give ourselves permission to grieve, and not all of us are able to travel to find the gift that peace can bring to our hearts. However, I do know that the ocean is a very healing and centering place to be, whether we are sad, happy, or just in need of some personal time. People do, in fact, go to the ocean when they are sad. Something about the sound of the waves, the screech of the gulls, the taste and feel of the salt water on your skin soothes the pain that rides within us. If only our hurt and pain could hitchhike on that wave and ride out into the depths of the ocean, never to be seen again, or our tears could be washed away forever. Instead, I see our grief floating alongside us, caressing our anguish in its healing waters. As I stood with my niece, her sweet little hand held tightly in mine, she looked up at me and said, "Please don't let me go. That wave was big and scary." I squeezed her hand reassuringly and told her I would never let her go, that she could trust me to keep her safe. I knew in that moment that I was releasing some unresolved grief of my own, not letting it go, but finding some much-needed healing and inner peace. Staring down the next wave, I realized that you never really know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice. I choose to ride the wave where grief takes me. Friends, continue to send in your thoughts and questions. After a couple more sessions, I plan on opening up this forum so that we can have more discussion about what's on your mind. What are you thinking about? What are those things that are troubling you and weighing on your heart? How can you find your peace? So until then, keep tuning in as we examine more aspects of grief journey and talk about the things that are important to us, the things that we need to be discussing more often. And so until tomorrow, I'm Zinjan, and may peace continue to be the meaning of our lives.